Hello, Dave here from Creative Guitar Lounge. This lesson today is about octaves, and that, as you, well, I'm sure know, was the part of the intro from Purple Haze, which is a very simple octave using the bottom E and the seventh fret on the A string, which is also an E, so we have an octave. But what I want to actually talk about in a bit more detail is two string octaves, which are actually fingered, and I think they're a brilliant way of doing a number of things. They can be really good for a kind of percussive and quite cool sounding rhythm parts, and they can also be really good for developing riffs and lead things, lead parts in an octave kind of format. And as with all the things I really like and that are possible on a guitar, they're all movable shapes, so you learn the position once and you can move it around all over the neck. That also helps you to build a really good fretboard knowledge. So they're great things to know about, and let's have a look at them. Okay, so we'll start on our bottom E string, a la Jimi Hendrix, but we'll use two fingers because we'll start on, again, one of my favourite keys of A, just for simplicity's sake. So if we have our root note A, 5th fret, bottom E string, and we play just our major scale to find where that comes to the next octave going across the neck. So we've got, and there it is, 2 frets down, 1 string across on our D string, 7th fret. So that's our first shape, and that's the same shape for any octave we want to play using bottom E root notes. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on, all the way down, G, F sharp, F, and another E octave just up here. But what we want to be mindful of is we really just want to be playing the octave and not any of the other notes, because often they won't fit in that chord or in that, they'll just be kind of clumsy. So what we need to be doing with all of these is muting the other strings that we aren't actually using. So in this shape, I'm using my index finger to mute the A string, and I'm using my pinky, which is on the D string. You could also use your third finger, but I find pinky easier, and that's just sitting across these other strings. And you can also kind of belt and braces that by kind of doing a bit of palm muting with your strumming hand. So what we have is this. So we're getting a really nice percussive kind of vibe from these strings that are partially muted as well, and we're just hearing the notes of the octave that we want to hear. So that's on our bottom E string. We can do exactly the same shape if we move across a string onto our A string. So in this case, on these same frets, we have a D octave. And we're doing exactly the same muting with our pinky, but we're actually we're taking double duty from the index finger here, because we now need to mute the bottom string and just have that as a kind of percussive addition to the chord. Okay, but takes a little bit of practice to just mute these unwanted notes or strings and to deaden them slightly. But it's nice. You just have to experiment until you get there. But you could also just use two fingers and kind of pinch the octaves instead. And if you wanted to do more of a kind of picked lead, you can actually just pick the notes. So there's a number of options that you can use to actually sound the notes in these octave shapes. But we'll move across to the next string. Now, when we get to the D string going across the neck, things change slightly, because our octave, again, it's 1 string across, but it lands on the B string, and as we know, that's a slightly different interval from all of the other open strings, so we're down 3. So for our G in this case, we're on the 5th fret on the D string is a G, and our octave for that is 8th fret on the B string, and you get this. quite nice as well. We're getting kind of trebly. We're also needing to mute more strings. The way I do this is, again, pinky is just lying across the top E and kind of completely silencing that. This finger isn't actually fretting that, and it probably looks like it is, but it's really just sitting on it, and it's also sitting on the A string, kind of meat of that finger. The only notes we're actually hearing are the two notes in our octave shape. Everything else is just percussion. And again, if we'd rather pick it, we can. And we're doing exactly the same next string over on the G string for our same octave pattern. So that's exactly the same. We're going 3 frets down on the top E to get our octave for those notes, where we're taking our root on the G string. So I hope you find that useful. That's octaves. They're a great way of, well, apart from doing these things that we've kind of touched on, they're a nice way of finding your way around the fretboard as well, because you can find, if we go back to our A, we know that's an A, we know that's an A open, we now know that's an A as well, so, and down here, that's an A as well. Okay, so there's one there. So they're everywhere, but this just lets us know kind of where they are if we're playing in octaves, so we can find our scales from there. So, you know, we have our, if we go back to the major scale we played at the beginning, if we start on our E root note, but if we start from here, which is our octave, it's there as well. So, you know, we can learn to see the fretboard and kind of negotiate our way around it by memorizing these octave positions, as well as using them to create great creative guitar playing, which is what we're all about here. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much, by the way, I should have said at the top, if you're one of my latest new subscribers. We're well on our way to 1,000 now, so if you've enjoyed this, you know, it really helps me out if you subscribe and, you know, hit the little notifications bell. You'll get notified of my new videos when they come out. I'm trying to do at least one a week, sometimes two. And I have my guitar course, which I've just released on Gumroad, link in the description to that. So, you know, subscribe, comment, like, have a look at the course, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again. It's been Dave at Creative Guitar Lounge.